So let's talk about Jacob's ladder. We all know the story, right? Jacob is on the run from his brother Esau. He lies down to sleep and has one of the most famous dreams in all of history, a ladder reaching up to heaven. It's a story we think we know inside and out. But what if that simple story is just the surface? What if it's really a web of hidden clues and secret meanings? I mean, this one verse from Genesis paints this unforgettable picture, a direct link between heaven and earth. It's one of those images that just sticks in your mind, and it's defined the story for thousands of years. But here's a wild thought. What if the most important part of this story isn't the ladder at all? What if every single word in the text is a carefully placed piece of a much, much bigger puzzle? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to dive into. And we have a guide for this journey. The legendary 11th century biblical commentator, Rashi. You see, for Rashi, there are no throwaway words. Every single detail is a clue just waiting to be found. To really get what Rashi's doing, we have to go all the way back to the start of the story. He shows us that the clues start popping up long before Jacob even closes his eyes. Right away, Rashi hits the brakes. The text could have just said, Jacob went to Haran, right? So why make a whole point of saying he went out? Now, you or I, we'd probably just read right past that. It seems totally trivial. But to Rashi? Oh no, that's the first major clue. And here is Rashi's absolutely brilliant insight. The phrase isn't just about physical movement, it's about spiritual weight. He explains that when a truly righteous person like Jacob leaves a place, its glory, its splendor, its very beauty, it all goes with him. All of a sudden, a simple travel note becomes this profound statement about the impact one person can have on a community. And the clues just keep coming. The text says, Jacob came upon a place. But in the original Hebrew, it uses the definite article, the place. Rashi immediately zeroes in on this. This isn't just any old spot. It is the place, Mount Moriah, the same holy site where his grandfather Abraham faced the ultimate test with his father Isaac. The story is already being layered with generations of history. Okay, now this is where it gets really cool. Let's look at the verb the Torah uses, vayifga. Now, this word is a total powerhouse. It has 3 different meanings. The simple translation is to light upon, to arrive. But Rashi points out it also means to pray. And third, it means to encounter or meet. He argues the text is telling us all 3 of these things happened at the exact same moment. So think about what this means. Rashi unpacks this whole cascade of miracles from just one word. Jacob didn't just stop because it was getting dark. The sun miraculously set super early, just for him. He didn't just stumble upon the right place. The holy ground of Mount Moriah was literally transported to encounter him. And in that moment, he established the evening prayer. This wasn't an accident. It was a divine appointment. And it doesn't stop there. Even his pillow isn't simple. First, the text says he took some stones, plural, from the place. But the next morning, he sets up the stone, singular. What gives? Well, Rashi brings in this beautiful old legend to explain it. Apparently, the stones themselves could feel Jacob's holiness, and they started arguing over which one would get the honor of being his pillow. So God just stepped in and miraculously merged them all into one. So, with all of this foundation laid, the spiritual journey, the divine appointment, the arguing stones, the dream itself takes on entirely new dimensions. Everything we just talked about was just the prelude to the main event. Here's another one of those tiny details that's so easy to miss. The text says the angels were ascending and descending. Rashi stops us and asks, wait a minute, does that make sense? Aren't angels supposed to be in heaven? Why on earth would they need to go up first? Shouldn't they be coming down? And his answer is pure genius. He says the word order reveals a celestial changing of the guard. You see, the angels who had been protecting Jacob inside the Holy Land couldn't cross its borders. So they had to ascend back to heaven to check in, while a brand new group of foreign service angels descended to take over for the next leg of his journey. It's a divine border crossing. Then, at the very top of the ladder, God himself appears and speaks directly to Jacob. And, as you might expect by now from Rashi's analysis, every single word in this divine promise is absolutely packed with layers of meaning. This is not just some generic blessing. When God says he'll give Jacob the ground on which you are lying, Rashi explains that God miraculously folded the entire Holy Land right underneath Jacob's body, a physical symbol that his children would one day conquer it with ease. The promise not to leave him, that's a specific promise for food and sustenance. And the emphasis on you is critical. This covenant is for Jacob's family line, not Esau's.
Now, if you're thinking, okay, maybe Rashi's just reading into things, just wait. Look at Jacob's reaction when he wakes up. It shows he understood the incredible depth of this encounter perfectly. He didn't just hear words, he'd heard the detailed terms of a divine contract.
Look at this. It's amazing. When Jacob makes his vow, it's not a negotiation. It is a perfect, point-for-point mirror image of what God just promised him. He's basically repeating the divine promise back as a conditional vow, which shows he was listening with laser focus and understood every single part of the blessing. And here is the most subtle and maybe the most brilliant connection of all. Why does Jacob specifically ask for bread to eat? It seems so ordinary, but Rashi connects it back to God's promise, I will not leave you. To Rashi, the Hebrew word for leave can also mean forsake. And what's the ultimate sign of being forsaken, according to the Psalms? Having to beg for bread. Jacob is showing he gets the deepest meaning of God's promise. So this entire experience, the miraculous journey, the coded dream, the specific promises, it completely shatters and rebuilds Jacob's understanding of where he is and what that place really represents. When he wakes up, he is completely shaken. Surely God is present in this place, and I did not know it. His conclusion isn't just, wow, that was a cool dream. He realizes he has stumbled upon the very center of reality, the intersection of the divine and the human world. So what is this gateway to heaven? For Rashi, it's literal. Jacob understood he was at a unique spot on earth that was perfectly aligned with the temple in heaven. Think of it like a spiritual hotspot, a divine conduit where prayers don't have to travel, they just arrive. He wasn't sleeping in a random field, he was at the universe's ground zero for prayer. Rashi's analysis shows us that a story we all thought was about a ladder is actually about the incredible power of words, the holiness of a specific place, and the mind-blowing precision of divine communication. And it leaves us with a pretty fascinating question. If so much can be hidden in just a few verses, what other secrets, what other gateways are waiting to be discovered in the stories we think we know best?